Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamute Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutala Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunavadi Pachatya Desha Tarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Canto 4, Chapter 7, verse 33. Patnya Patnya Uchuhu Yagnoyam Tava Yajanaya Kena Sushto Vidvashtaha Pashupatinadya Dakshakopat Tam Tam Nastvam Shava Shayanabha Shanta Medham Yagnatman Nalina Rucha Drusha Punihi. The wives of the performers of the sacrifice said, my dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instruction of Brahma. But unfortunately, Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene. And because of his anger, the animals meant for sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the yajna have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked. So, Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial arena, and the different people present there offering their prayers, different prayers. So, the wives of the performers of sacrifice are saying this. Purport: animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. So all mantras are, yeah, they have different potencies and qualification. So it depends on the potency of the mantra and the qualification of the chanter. So if the qualification, purity of the chanter, then the mantra will have more effect. Similarly, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is super powerful, but it also depends on the purity of the chanter. So if we chant at least um, in Nama Bhasa, which is without Nama Parada, then we will see very tremendous impact on the chanter. Of course, Nama Prabhu is because non-different from Krishna, so it's called Mahamantra. So cannot compare it with other mantras. Um, but the effect of chanting Hare Krishna is also not delivered immediately to the chanter. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uh, in the chapter on Ajamilas last time, so he says that Nama Prabhu withholds the results until suitable time comes. Mm. So there are very lot of intricacies about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but it's very powerful. Of course, it has to be chanted without offenses, without Nama Parada. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. Their bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of yajna was lost. Yajna means pleasure of Vishnu. Of course, Vishnu is not happy when uh, these kind of things happen. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priests to glance over the yajna arena with his causeless mercy so that the routine work of the yajna might be continued. The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated by the use of the mantras. They should not have been killed, as they were by Lord Shiva to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that the animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing yagna. So Prabhupada is saying it is pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated. This is the strength of the Brahminical culture. So it's pleasing to see that it was not a godless display of power, like uh, Prabhupada writes elsewhere. Mm. So all these, everything uh, in the Vedic culture had a meaning and reason, uh, and everything was designed to take the people involved towards the Supreme Lord ultimately. And that was the whole intention of Varnashrama. Yeah. So when things are done as per rules, it's very pleasing. And when things are done whimsically, it doesn't please the Supreme Lord because it will not be in line with the with his injunctions in the Shastra. So always it is always nice to follow rules and regulations and do things as recommended by Shastra, as recommended by Acharyas. Mahajanayana gatasya panta. If we think that we can do our own rules, we are just in illusion. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be stuck where we are, or worst, we might even go down in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So, pleasing. It is pleasing to follow rules and regulations. It is also pleasing to have a very nice Krishna conscious atmosphere. Um, so that atmosphere had been lost. Pleasing atmosphere. Pleasing atmosphere means, every so many preaching centers now. Uh, Everybody should. I see many a times devotees don't seem to be bothered about who comes in or who goes. It's like, yeah, whoever wants they'll come. Whoever wants will go. No, but that's not a pleasing atmosphere. Yesterday I was talking to somebody and they said that it's so nice to see an environment where everybody feels wanted, right? When people who come are spoken to, or loving exchanges with new people, devotees, that atmosphere is required. People don't come to Krishna consciousness because of course, people come also because of prasadam and kirtan. Very few for Shravanam. But the pleasing atmosphere is also important. The deities, the photos, the beautiful alankar, then nice kirtan, um, uh, yeah, mm, prasadam, and good environment where people are all felt they should feel welcome. And of course, as it is, mm, classes, pravachan. So this creates a very pleasing atmosphere as given to us by Srila Prabhupada. And if it is lost, then the whole purpose of the movement is lost. Um, so always, any of us who are involved in any kind of preaching activity, we should always think that it is our preaching center. So people who come are guests, and we should treat them nicely. We should talk to them, um, because they really are guests, right? So that pleasing atmosphere is required. It's very, very important, especially from a preaching perspective. Whatever be the situation, we should always make new people feel wanted, feel welcome. Mm. And yeah, presence of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu will always make it pleasing. So we have to serve in such a way that Krishna would want to be present. Mitra gayanti mad bhaktaha tatta tishtami narada. So such a nice atmosphere is created. Lord is present, and the potency of such a place shows. There will be potency in the place where devotees are doing very sincerely, nicely, following rules and regulations. And then Krishna will also be present, and that will be seen by the growth in preaching, by more devotees dedicating themselves to service, etc., etc. ऋषयः ऊचुः अनन्वितं ते भगवन् विचेष्टितं यदात्मनाचरसि हि कर्म नाज्यसे विभूतये यत उपसेदुरीश्वरीं न मन्यते स्वयं अनुवर्ततीं भवान्. The sages prayed, Dear Lord, your activities are most wonderful, and although you do everything by your different potencies, you are not at all attached to such activities. You are not even attached to the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by great demigods like Brahma, who pray to achieve her mercy. And Bhagavad Gita it is said that the Lord has no desire to achieve any result from his wonderful activities, nor has he any need to perform them. But still, in order to give an example to people in general, he sometimes acts, and those activities are very wonderful. He's not attached to anything. Namam karmani limpanti. Name karma phalesh. Although he acts very wonderfully, he is not at all attached to anything. He is self-sufficient. The example is given here that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is always engaged in the service of the Lord. But still, he is not attached to her. Even great demigods like Brahma worship the goddess of fortune in order to win her favor. But although the Lord is worshipped by many hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune, he is not at all attached to any one of them. This distinction concerning the exalted transcendental position of the Lord is specifically mentioned by the great sages. He is not like the ordinary living entity who is attached to the results of pious activities. He is not attached to them in the sense, yeah, just like Yatamam Prapadyante. And just he reciprocates with all devotees. He is also devotee, reciprocates with her accordingly. Not attached to her because he is his wife, because that's material. So it's an exalted transcendental position. Mm. Um, so while everybody runs behind money, Vishnu is not, he is the originator of all money. And so goddess of fortune, and so many people, so many living entities worship her, but he is not attached to her. So even devotees, uh, um, there's that very famous argument about or discussion about why devotees of Shiva are so rich and devotees of Vishnu are so poor. Mm, that's because uh, people who go to Shiva are they just want some material benefit, so they go and ask, and Shiva is Ashutosha, very easily pleased. So then they come for material benefits, and he bestows into them. But Krishna or Vishnu, um, they're very very concerned about the spiritual progress of devotees. So they don't just uh, just give all the time. So they know, they decide when to give and not to give. Uh, and like and also the mm, devotees are so attached to Krishna, Vishnu on the transcendental platform that they're not really attracted by material wealth or opulence and all that. Because they're experiencing a higher taste in their life. So we should also not be attached to this money. If money has been given to us by Krishna, then we should use it in Krishna's service. So um, we're just thinking maybe we will have some opportunity to um, procure some place for our preaching in Holy. But of course, we have to pay for it. Um, and I was thinking, saying that so many people have so much money, even if they give little from their earnings. Like I was remembering Brahmanand Prabhu, other devotees when initially they were working and bringing all the money and giving it to Srila Prabhupada. So if money is there, it should be utilized for Krishna service. I was thinking, oh, it would be so nice if a beautiful temple comes up here. Not some, yeah, nice temple, which traditional kind of South Indian temple, right? Where people will come and they will feel rejuvenated. They'll have that, that pleasing atmosphere. That, um, and for all that money is required. And Lakshmi Devi is shown her favor to so many people. So many people have so much money. I mean, it's just unimaginable the kind of money people have today. But it's so surprising that, very few actually have the heart to give. Mm. The Lakshmi Devi will be most pleased when she's engaged in the service of the Lord. But people want to enjoy her without any connection with the Supreme Lord. So then she becomes Chanchala. Mm. I know so many people, I mean, they have money, they do for their own stuff. And when it comes to donating something for the temple, it's like, you know, 0.25% they donate, not even 1%. I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand what is the idea of, and also they're devotees. So What is the point in being devotees and hoarding our money for ourselves or for some investments we are making, but giving very little for Krishna? Hmm? What is the point? Hmm. Yeah, then devotees say, yeah, we are preparing for retirement. Uh, what is in our control for us to prepare for retirement? Yeah, of course, we need to have some savings like Rupa Goswami only showed, but that is only 25%. 50% has to be given to Krishna, 25% for uh, whatever maintenance, and 25% emergency funds. But today, most devotees do the other way around. Mm. It's like least amount possible for Krishna, then most amount for themselves. So it's not at all grasta. This is not grasta life. So these things we have to hear when, at least I used to, when I was working, and I used to follow this very strictly. I mean, as much as it makes a difference. I'm not telling to post, but these things are very, very important, especially for grihasthas, that we follow. If we follow it, we will make progress in spiritual life, and Krishna will take care of the rest. The faith we have to have that, okay, yes, this Lakshmi is there, let me use. Um, if 10 devotees stand by and say, okay, we will work to bring, build a temple, um, then they can inspire another 10 devotees. Then like that. So if 20, 30 devotees who are working, they want to just build a temple. How difficult is it? Mm. It's not very difficult. It's not at all difficult. Just 15 years of commitment in our long life. So, but we have to have that desire that, oh yes, Krishna should come here. Krishna should be very opulently served. Then, yeah, then our life will also become perfect. Mm. So everybody runs behind money. Devotees at least should not run. Yeah, they should run behind money, but that money should be used for Krishna. We should not be attached to it as our money. Like I've told before, somebody who has 100 rupees, if he gives 1 rupee, that's lot maybe for him. But if he gives 10 rupees, maybe it's lot. But somebody who earns maybe 1 lakh rupees, if he gives 100 rupees, it's nothing, right? So it should be in proportion to what Krishna has given us. Mm. So it's not the number which matters. That is why Rupa Goswami, very, as intelligent acharyas also, he said percentage. Uh, Percentage should be given to Krishna. The percentage deal. I really request all grihasthas to really think seriously about this and make some commitments. If you've already done, then it's very nice. But if you're not, then it should also see whether it's okay, whether it's a meaningful commitment that I've made or just namesake commitment. Yeah, something I'm giving every month. No, but it should be meaningful because Krishna knows, right? I mean, whom are we trying to bluff here? Hmm? It's for our own purification. 4735 Siddhauchuhu. Ayam tvatkathamrishtam piyushanadhyam manovarana kleshadavagni तृषार्तो वगाढो न तस्मारदावं न निष्क्रामति ब्रह्म सम्पन्नवन्नः. Siddhas prayed like an elephant that has suffered in a forest fire but can forget all its troubles. By entering a river, our minds, O Lord, always merge in the nectarian river of your transcendental pastimes, and they desire never to leave such transcendental bliss, which is as good as the pleasure of merging in the absolute. This statement is from the Siddhas, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where the 8 kinds of material perfection are complete. Residents of Siddhaloka have full control in the 8 kinds of yogic perfection. But from their statement, it appears that they are pure devotees. They always merge in the nectarian river of hearing of the pastimes of the Lord. Hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is called Krishna Katha. Similarly, there is a statement by Prahlad Maharaj that those who are always merged in the ocean of the nectar of describing the Lord's pastimes are liberated and have no fear of the material condition of life. The Siddhas say that the mind of an ordinary person is full of anxieties. An example is given of the elephant who has suffered in a forest fire and who enters into a river for relief. The persons who are suffering in the forest fire of this material existence will only enter into the nectarian river of the description of the pastimes of the Lord. They will forget all the troubles of the miserable material existence. Hmm. But we have to enter the river. Hmm. We have to enter the river. We should not remain on the just on the banks. We should enter the river. The Siddhas do not care for fruitive activities such as performing sacrifices and achieving the good results. So Prabhupada is saying because they seem to be pure devotees, they don't care. Without cares, one of the quality of a devotee, without care. Without care means he's not bothered about his material condition. Just says it's okay. Krishna is there, then my karma phala is there. So Krishna will decide what is good for me. I'll just depend on him. Why worry too much about material life? So they don't care much to improve their material position. They don't they don't bother much. When devotees don't bother themselves, Krishna will bother for on their behalf. Mm. Devotees bother themselves, Krishna will say, okay, figure it out. They simply merge in the transcendental discussions of the pastimes of the Lord. That makes them completely happy without care for pious or impious activities. Without care doesn't mean that you go in intentionally do impious activities. Just not worried about this papa punya business. Just happy in the service of the Lord. That's all. For those who are always in Krishna consciousness, there's no need to perform any kind of papa or punya. Uh, Krishna consciousness is itself complete, for it includes all the processes praised in the Vedic scriptures. But of course, we have to understand here when Prabhupada is saying Krishna consciousness, it means as per the sampradaya. If we follow Krishna consciousness as per the sampradaya, it includes all other process. We don't have to go and do other, like I was saying the other day, South Indian festivals, this, that, now Ganesha festival is coming. I know so many devotees who still do Ganesha, worship Ganesha at home. Even though so clear it is that we should not get into this demigod worship. Devotees not fully, no, full faith is not there. Full faith is not there. So it includes everything else. We should understand Prabhupada is saying it includes everything else that is there in the Vedic scriptures. You don't have to separately go behind anything for that matter. Hmm. And Krishna consciousness primarily means when it comes to devotion to Krishna, just it is Shravanam Kirtanam. Here also we don't have to do some, we are, I see sometimes many the temples they are becoming like Sri Vaishnava temple. So much of mantra and this and that and all that. And yeah, there are few things that should be done, but not so elaborate. Uh, Now we have to see what our acharyas have prescribed and then simply follow that. Main focus should be on Shravanam Kirtanam. Like Prabhupada during the installation deities in Vrindavan temple opening, he said we will just do Shravanam, we'll do Kirtanam, we'll do Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When the local Brahmanas, they want just to keep them happy, let them do whatever they want. Uh, but we are not interested in this. He very clearly signaled to devotees saying that we have to just follow Bhagavata Vidhi. Rest of the things are not important. I mean, it's there if okay, something has to be done, it's fine. But it shouldn't become like we become like a, leaving Sankirtana Yagna, we do other Yagnas. That's not the point is lost. The whole point is lost. Because this is the Yuga Dharma. We're going to elaborate Yagna and this and that like other sampradayas. That's not, or maybe, so many smartas do all this. Right? We don't have to get into all this. Whatever bare minimum which has been recommended for DT worship, etc. Yeah, can be done. But we have to. All this is, moving away from some sampradaya. Mm, and we let. I like, multiple times I've seen Simply the mantra for Tulsi Pranam mantra. Can anybody chant? What is the Tulsi Pranam mantra? So surprised sometimes that some basics are also violated. What is the Tulsi Pranam mantra?
वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी
Hmm.
सत्यवती
See, that is why I wanted. It's not Krishna Bhakti, right? First thing is it is
कृष्ण
Vrindayai.
भक्ति
It is Vrindayai. Tulsi Devyai, not Devyayai. Sanskrit. Okay, that is okay. That devotees who don't understand the difference make that mistake. But it is not Krishna Bhakti. In Shastra, there is no process, no mantra for Krishna Bhakti. This is modified by our, you know, hill temple, and then everywhere, all books, all the, handbook for Krishna conscious, this, that, everywhere has Krishna Bhakti. Shastra is actually Vishnu Bhakti Pradedevi. Mm. So like this, deviation. This is not our sampradaya. This is some makeup, some modification. Like this, there are hundreds and thousands of things in in our practice, which are just allowed. We are just, the other day I was hearing, it's only the Jayadvaita Maharaj seminar on Kirtan standards. So Prabhupada's expectation was very different, and what we are doing is very different. Mm, so today all other instruments are there. You know, Prabhupada's standard was very simple. Arm, Mridanga, Kartal, Kol, Kartal. That's all for Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Mm, For bhajans, harmonium can be used, but no other instrument is required. Of course, initially Prabhupada said, okay, they encourage people they want to do, but now it has become like, practicing devotees, serious devotees, they go into this djembe and this and that and flute and, guitar and something else and something else. I mean, it's not our sampradaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed, saying that what is the way to do Sankirtan? Hmm. So these things we should not deviate. See, the beauty is, I don't know how many of you have actually feel, like when Kirtan is happening, the effect of Kirtan with and without Mridanga. And Mridanga also, there are standard beats, which actually hit the heart. And Mridanga is a manifestation of Krishna's flute. Mm. So when that Mridanga actually plays, when Krishna plays his flute, the whole world is mesmerized. Right. So similarly, when this Mridanga is, when the sound of Mridanga actually reaches our ears, it enters our heart, and it's so, I mean, it creates a transformation. But if Mridanga, first of all, if beats are all like very modern kind of beats, or Mridanga is not heard at all, then it's not Kirtan. Uh, so the focus has to be on this. Now, if we do harmonium, the whole idea why Prabhupada said no harmonium is because then all the focus will go on the raga. Focus will has to be on the nama. So if there is no harmonium, that means there will be more simple tunes. And simple tunes basically means it will let people who are not musicians or music connoisseurs or experts, they can simply focus on the nama and get involved in the absorbed in the nama. But if there are complicated tunes, then what happens is everybody is concerned about, oh, am I singing properly? Then where is the focus on the nama? Things like this, So Krishna consciousness, as given by the acharyas, complete. If we simply follow that, then we don't have to do anything else. But we have to follow. We have to follow. What has been given is very powerful. If we let the process actually act on us, we have to let the process act on us by following it properly. Yajamanyuvacha Swagatam te prasidesha tubhyam namaha Srinivasas Kriya Kantaya Trahina Naha Tvamrite Dhisha Nanger Makah Shobhate Shirshahinaha Ka Bandho Yatha Purushaha. The wife of Daksha prayed as follows: My dear Lord, it is very fortunate that you appeared in this arena of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, and I request that you be pleased on the occasion. The sacrificial arena is not beautiful without you, just as the body is not beautiful without the head. So nice. Another name of Lord Vishnu is Yagneshwara. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that all activities uh, should be performed as Vishnu Yagna, mm, for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Mm. Unless we please him, whatever we do is the cause of our bondage in the material world. Uh, unless we please him, and he's not pleased when we engage in things which are not connected to Krishna consciousness. This is confirmed herein by the wife of Daksha. Without your presence, the grandeur of this sacrificial ceremony is useless. Just as a body without the head, however decorated it may be, is useless. The comparison is equally applicable to the social body. Material civilization is very proud of being advanced, but it is actually the useless trunk of a body without a head. The head is a Brahmana. Without Krishna consciousness, without an understanding of Vishnu, the Supreme Person of Godhead, any advancement in civilization, no matter how sophisticated, is of no value. Because if the head is Brahmana, then he will teach Krishna consciousness. There's a statement in the Hari Bhakti Sudodhaya. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Dapastapaha Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. Purport is that sometimes when a friend or relative dies, especially among lower class men, the dead body is decorated. Lower class men. Dressed and ornamented, the body is taken in procession. That sort of decoration of the dead body has no actual value because the life force is already gone. Similarly, without Krishna consciousness, any aristocracy, any social prestige, or any advancement of material civilization is as good as the decoration of a dead body. The name of the wife of Daksha was Prasuti, and she was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Her sister Devahuti was married to Kardama Muni, and Kapila Dev, the personality of Godhead, became her son. Prasuti then was the aunt of Lord Vishnu. She was asking the favor of Lord Vishnu in an affectionate mode. Since she was his aunt, he sought some special favor. Also significant in this verse is that the Lord is praised with the goddess of fortune. Whenever Lord Vishnu is worshipped, naturally there is the favor of goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu is addressed as Amrita, transcendental. The demigods, including Brahma and Lord Shiva, were produced after the creation. But Lord Vishnu existed before the creation. He is therefore addressed as Amrita. Lord Vishnu is worshipped with his internal energy by the Vaishnavas. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, implored the Lord to turn the priests into Vaishnavas instead of simply fruitive workers performing sacrifices for some material benefits. Known as we have to become Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas means no intention of doing anything for material benefit. Lokapala Uchuhu. Drishta kim no dृग्भिर् असद्गृहैस्त्वं प्रत्यग् दृष्टा दृश्यते येन विश्वं माया ह्येषा भवदीय हि भूमं यस्त्वं सष्टः panchabhirbhasi bhutaihi. Governors of various planets spoke as follows. Dear Lord, we believe only in our direct perception and therefore we see you as a creation of the material world. Governors are accepting their fallen state, that only this is uh, material perception they are believing. So they think that when they see the Supreme Lord, we see you as a creation of the material world. Mayavada. But under the circumstances, we do not know whether we have actually seen you with our material senses. By our material senses, we can simply perceive the cosmic manifestation, but you are beyond the five elements. You are the sixth. The governors of the various planets are certainly materially opulent and very puffed up. Such persons are unable to understand the transcendental eternal form of the Lord. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that only persons who have anointed their eyes with love of Godhead can see the person of Godhead in every step of their activities. In every step. This is so important for practicing devotees that we see the presence of the Lord. We see Krishna's hands in all our life activities. In every step, we should see the Lord. Whatever is happening in a devotee's life, be it pleasant, unpleasant, so-called pleasant, so-called unpleasant, we should say, because everything is the hand of the Lord. One who his eyes are anointed with the love of Krishna, then he'll see, oh yes, Krishna is so merciful. He's helping me by giving me punishment. Krishna is so merciful. He's taking me closer to him. So we will see Krishna's hands in our life. But if we are not, if we just, not, we don't have so much faith in Krishna, then we will just see karma, karma phala, punishment, this, that. We don't see Krishna there. Mm. Also in the prayers of Kunti, it is stated that only those who are akinchana gocharam, who are not materially puffed up, mm, not materially puffed up, Prabhupada says. Not that they are not materially opulent. Akinchana means actually having nothing. One who has nothing. But for us, one who has nothing is Yukta Vairagya. One who has everything but uses everything for Krishna is also Akinchana. He can see the Supreme Person of Godhead. Others are bewildered and cannot even think of the absolute truth. Hmm. You cannot think of the absolute truth. Yogeshwara Uchuhu. Preyannatenyosти amutastvai prabho vishwatmani kshenna prithagya atmanah athapi bhaktyesha tayopadhavatam ananya vrityanugrahana vatsala. Great mystic said, dear Lord, persons who see you as not different from themselves, knowing that you are the super soul of all living entities, are certainly very, very dear to you. You are very favorable toward those who engage in devotional service, accepting you as the Lord and themselves as the servants. By your mercy, you are always inclined in their favor. See, those who are engaged in devotional service, yogis are also saying, great mystics means yogis. They are saying, you are more favorable to bhaktas. Even though we are yogis, but you are more favorable to bhaktas. It is indicated in this verse that the monists and the great mystics know the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one. Hmm. This oneness is not the misunderstanding that a living entity is equal in respect to the Supreme Lord. This monism is based on pure knowledge as described and confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Priyo hi gnanino tyartham aham sa cha mama priyaha. Lord says that those who are advanced in transcendental knowledge and know the science of Krishna consciousness are very dear to him and he is also very dear to them. Those who are actually in perfect knowledge of the science of God know that the living entities are superior energy of the Supreme Lord. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter. Material energy is inferior and living entities are superior. Energy and energetic are not different, therefore, energies possess the same quality as the energetic. Persons who are in full knowledge of the personality of Godhead, analyzing his different energies and knowing their own constitutional position, are certainly very, very dear to the Lord. So, analyzing his different energies, which means that we should not become uninterested in philosophy. We should be able to analyze, knowing our constitutional position. Then we'll engage in our constitutional position. Such people are very, very dear to the Lord. Persons, however, who may not even be conversant with knowledge of Supreme Personality, but who always think of the Lord with love and faith, feeling that He is great and that there is parts and parcels, ever His servitors are even more favored by Him. So here, this is Gnanis. Mm. Gnani is also dear to the Lord, very, very dear. But even more dear are the Bhaktas, who are just, whether they know or they don't know, they serve the Lord with love and faith, considering themselves as His servitors. The particular significance of this verse is that the Lord is addressed as Vatsala. Vatsala means always favorably disposed. Lord's name is Bhakta Vatsala. Lord is famous as Bhakta Vatsala, which means that He is always favorably inclined to the devotee. See, whereas He is never addressed anywhere in the Vedic literature as Gnani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. He is Bhakta Vatsala. So He is always favorably inclined. We should not doubt that. We should always know this. Krishna is always inclined towards His devotees. Only question really comes is, okay, am I a devotee? Uh, can I consider myself as a devotee or not? That is the only question. Because as long as Krishna considers us as a devotee, then he's inclined towards us. And when we say inclined towards us, what does it mean? Inclined means that he is taking care of our spiritual progress, that he is concerned that we go back to him, and we don't continue to rot in this material world. That is his inclination, that is his favor. And Krishna will always take care of uh, Dadami Buddhi Yogam, takes care of devotees, his devotees. He is very favorable. So all we have to do is make sure that we become qualified to be his servants. And how do we know whether we are qualified to be his servants? Yes, prasadat bhagavat prasada. When we please the Guru, when we follow his instructions, when we follow acharyas, so then we know, oh yes, I'm following the instructions. Means yes, prasadat bhagavat prasada. If Guru is pleased, if senior Vaishnavas are pleased, then Krishna is pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, Krishna will be inclined in our favor. And in our favor means make us progress towards him. Okay, so I'll stop here if there are any questions coming. Anything? Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Pranam, Mataji.
Prabhu, like when you said, like when you do mission bhakti, you made a very strong statement that there is chances of even falling down. Prabhu, I mean, I don't know about others, but being my whatever little I do, it's mixed. It's a mixed thing. And another thing, Prabhu, you said about the kirtan, which yes, Prabhupada started just with the kartal. Now the other day, Prabhu, I went to a devotee's house, and his young teenager daughter came up. She said, "Mataji, did you see this? Mataji, did you see this?" And of course, like one of the devotee was doing kirtan and showed that A.R. Rahman's house, and it is taken over by storm. There's another husband wife, and now another band which has come. So at least somewhere, they get a liking for this, and somewhere at least they take the name of Krishna or listen to that music. Like just a kirtan. Now in this, like maybe we can enjoy this thing, but the years and that love for music is there, no problem. Like with time, don't you think it could fade with time?
Yeah, Jayadvait Maharaj actually dances this, right? So he says that do you think that people are actually attracted? Actually, Prabhupada said this. Do you think that people are actually attracted by the music? No, people are attracted by the nama. But we think that they're attracted by the music. See, this is a very material thing, right? See, the thing is, if it is music, it can be any music, right? Why it has to be Hare Krishna Mahamantra? And this is what is happening. See, Prabhupada also allowed some outreach programs. See, there's a big difference in between what Prabhupada's vision was and what we are doing. Prabhupada's idea was you can do outreach. Yeah, in outreach you want to do. I mean, we know, right? It's a famous ballroom. I mean, like so many all these musicians were there, etc. And everybody were chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, but they were not devotees. When the devotees went on the stage, they played with kartal and mridanga in the same gathering where everybody else who are musicians are coming and playing various instruments and various their own tunes and ding bang, right? Devotees in white clothes went on the stage and they performed using karthal and mridanga. Right, and see, Prabhupada, we should understand one thing, that Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was there, it was the same generation. It was not some previous generation that he appeared, right? And he was in the midst of this, right, thick of this modern Western civilization, right? He preached in the most fallen parts of the world. And if he could have adopted all this, right, and said, okay, it's okay, within the temple you come and do all this, but he said no. He said you can do all that. Outreach means outside the temple. Outreach means outside the temple. You can do whatever. Like I've been highlighting this, right? Prabhupada once even said dramas can be enacted to attract people. You can do anything. You want to do music, you want to do this, that, but don't bring it into the temple. Meaning people should suddenly see a difference. Oh, okay, I got you. You do music to get people hooked on to the mantra. But if people are not hooked on to the mantra, then it just became a musical performance. If people get hooked on to the mantra, then they will come and they will not be so much affected if suddenly their favorite instrument is not in the mix, for example. But the mantra, the attraction, the attachment to mantra itself is not there. Why? That is because of the purity of the chanters. Prabhupada sang the same tune for 4 hours in that first ever kirtan in what is that park? Whatever, I forget that.
It is,
Right? I mean, see, Prabhupada showed by example. We should understand why these things have to be done, because it was not that he was a visionary, right? He knew what is required, right? So these things, I mean, the only thing I ask, right, is okay, fine. People have been at some connection with Krishna consciousness, but what do they really do with their life at the end of it? They will go to Swarga. I mean, is that the whole aim of our movement? Yeah, I mean, we can say that, we can proudly say, yes, we are enabling people to go to Swarga. But think about it from Prabhupada's perspective, right? If Prabhupada is sitting here and hearing this, saying that, oh, yeah, Krishna consciousness is now enabling people to go to Swarga. Of course, he said that. He even said that many people will go to Swarga. But is that going to please him? I mean, every time, at least this is my approach to my Krishna conscious life, is anything that I do, I ask only two questions. Does it please Prabhupada? Does it please my Guru Maharaj? That's all I ask. Because they know, right? Prabhupada knows why we want to try all these things. I mean, and what is the long-term outcome of all this? Uh, I mean, and who am I to judge, right? I'm not judging, or it's the same thing Jayadvait Maharaj said. Who am I to say anything? This is Prabhupada. Prabhupada has said he is our Acharya, we have to follow. Really, I mean, I forwarded that this one to some of the devotees in our temple who sing Kirtan, and said, please hear this, see if there's any possibility of following this. Right? Because it was very, very clear, 4 sessions, like 6 hours. Maharaj has spoken about this, just one topic, Kirtan. Right? Because there's a reason, right? We have to understand. We unfortunately, if you are not hearing, if you don't want to hear, listen to what our acharyas have said, then I don't know what we are doing actually. Anyway, I mean, it looks like it's going to go in this direction, right, Mataji? So nobody seems to be really. Shravanam is out of the door, right? Nobody wants to hear. Looks like everybody has their own way today, right? Which is surprising, right? So yeah, I mean, what can I say? Yeah, I can just repeat what I've heard from senior devotees. That's all. Yeah, anything else? The only thing I request all devotees to remember, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to Swarga? Do we want to go to Krishna? I think that will sort things out gradually. If you want to go to Swarga, then no problem. We can continue with all this mismatch, mix and match, or whatever, mishmash of whatever we are doing. But if you want to go to Krishna, then it has to be pure. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah, Antakoti Vaishnavandi ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare